A comedy worth millions, Sancho rebels. Real to sign Konate, they want to pull off a trick like with Trent. The war between FIFA and Uefa for the Club World Cup. De Gea's return to United. All of this and more in today's episode. The brightest star of Manchester United, the owner of phenomenal statistics, 12 goals and 6 assists in 3 seasons, once again cannot decide on his future. Jadon Sancho, whom the club has long excluded from its plans, is blocking his move to Roma because of his salary. According to Team Talk, United has already agreed to a deal with the Romans, a loan with a mandatory buyout for £20 million. But Sancho, who earns £250,000 a week, is not ready to lower his appetite, even if it means being left without game practice. And here is the most interesting thing. Sancho's contract with United runs until the summer of 2026. This means that for at least one more season, the club will pay him £13 million a year for not playing. This is no longer just a financial black hole. It's a Netflix budget comedy series. Roma cannot afford his salary, and the player himself is waiting to see if a club will appear that will agree to pay him like a top star, which he never became. After a failed period at Chelsea, where the club paid £5 million to avoid a buyout, and after United officially announced that Sancho was not in Ruben Amorim's plans, the situation looks like a comedy with a drawn-out ending. Sancho, who once lit up the Bundesliga next to Højlund and Bellingham, is now waiting for a club that will agree to pay for memories. Roma is giving him a chance, but the star is hesitant, because £250,000 a week weighs more than a playing career. If the choice between football and money has already been made, sell him to Saudi Arabia. They pay for names, not for form, and let him go for the money if football is no longer a priority. Unlike Sancho, Kolo Muani agreed to a significant salary reduction to move from PSG to Juventus. The forward, who already has experience playing in Serie A, has agreed to personal contract terms until 2030 and is training separately, awaiting the finalization of the deal. Juve has offered a paid loan with a mandatory buyout if they qualify for the Champions League, and the total transfer fee will be around €58 million. This allows the club to spread out the costs in accordance with financial fair play. PSG initially demanded €60 million, but is ready for a compromise, given the player's desire. Kolo Muani has rejected offers from Tottenham and Manchester United, clearly stating that he wants to play for Juventus. The transfer is expected to be completed by August 24th, when the Turin side starts their Serie A season with a match against Parma. If all goes as planned, Juve will get a dynamic striker with experience, motivation, and a clear choice. He has chosen Turin. Manchester United have started negotiations with David De Gea regarding a return to Old Trafford. According to The Sun, the club is studying a clause in the goalkeeper's contract with Fiorentina that allows him to leave the Italian club for a moderate fee. De Gea, who played 545 matches for United from 2011 to 2023, left the club last summer but maintained excellent form in Serie A. 42 matches, 11 clean sheets, a new contract until 2028. However, after a friendly match between Fiorentina and United, where the Spaniard brilliantly played against his former club, interest in him from the Red Devils was reignited. A key factor in the negotiations was the disappointment with Andre Onana. The Cameroonian goalkeeper, for whom the club paid €50 million, was supposed to become the new face of United in goal, with good footwork and a modern style. But the 2024-25 season showed otherwise. A series of costly mistakes, instability, a playing model that doesn't work, and a lack of confidence in key matches. According to Tribuna.com, Onana became a symbol of chaos, not stability, and even the coaches who demanded a playing-with-feet goalkeeper could not use his strengths. Ruben Amorim wants an experienced goalkeeper who does not need to adapt, and De Gea perfectly fits this profile. The club believes that he can become a mentor for young goalkeepers, and at the same time close the number, one position for the next 2 seasons. De Gea's return is not just a transfer, but an emotional comeback of a legend who won the Premier League, Europa League, and FA Cup with United. If the deal is completed, fans will see one of the most unexpected comebacks of the season, and perhaps the beginning of a new era of stability in goal. FIFA is considering holding the Club World Cup every 2 years from 2029, and this has already caused a wave of protests from Uefa and the Premier League. According to The Guardian, the Biennial idea came after a successful tournament in the United States, where Chelsea earned £85 million for winning. Top clubs, including Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United and Liverpool, are pushing FIFA to make the tournament a regular source of income, but European leagues see it as a threat to the international calendar. FIFA is already discussing cancelling the June international window to make room for club competitions, as well as a possible expansion of the tournament from 32 to 48 teams and the removal of the no more than 2 clubs from one country limit. Qatar, Spain, Morocco and the USA have already submitted bids to host the tournament, and legal challenges from the Premier League-backed World Leagues Group are already on the horizon. This is not just a change of format, it is a potential shift in the balance of world football, where FIFA is trying to shift the focus from national teams to clubs. And if the plan is implemented, we will get a new era of global club football, with money, scandals, and even more strain on the players. Tottenham are seriously considering the transfer of Takefusa Kubo as an alternative to Eze and Savinho, and this is not just a backup option, but a strategic choice. After Maddison's injury, the club is urgently looking for a creative winger capable of leading the game, and Thomas Frank has already approved the Japanese player's candidacy. Real Sociedad is only ready to sell Kubo for €70 million, a sum comparable to the valuations of Eze and Savinho, but Kubo looks like the most realistic option. Negotiations with Eze have become complicated. Although Tottenham has agreed to personal terms, Crystal Palace is not ready to sell a player who recently started a match against Chelsea. Savinho, in turn, openly wants to move to the Spurs, but Manchester City is demanding compensation of €70 million and is not in a hurry to finalise the deal. In this context, Kubo is not cheaper, but he is a more accessible and less risky option. The Japanese player is already adapted to European football, has stable experience in La Liga, and his style, speed, dribbling, work without the ball, perfectly fits into Frank's system. This is a transfer that can happen now, without delay and without the need for a long adaptation. That's why Tottenham has activated contact with Sociedad. The club believes that Kubo is able to immediately close a problematic position and become a key player in the new scheme. The situation around Brentford's 28-year-old forward Yoane Wissa has turned into a real drama in the last days of the transfer window. The player, who scored 19 goals in the Premier League last season, is openly pressuring the club. He has unfollowed Brentford on Instagram, removed all photos with the club, and changed his avatar to black, a signal that he wants to leave immediately. Newcastle have already made several attempts to sign Wissa, but Brentford has abruptly changed the terms. Instead of the promised £26 million, they are now demanding at least £60 million, even after signing Dango Ouattara for £42.5 million as a replacement for Bryan Mbeumo. Wissa was excluded from the squad for the match against Nottingham Forest. The coach admitted that the player is not in the right state to play. This transfer is key to the future of Alexander Isak, who is in conflict with Newcastle and wants to move to Liverpool. The signing of Wissa opens the way for Isak's sale. Liverpool has already made an offer of £110 million, but is waiting for Newcastle to find a replacement. If Brentford does not change its position, Wissa will stay, Isak will be blocked, and Liverpool will change its targets. If the deal happens, we will get one of the loudest transfer chains of the summer. According to Gazzetta dello Sport, Milan are in talks with Manchester United for a loan of Raasmas Hyand with an option to buy for €35 million. The club is already agreeing on terms with the Danish forward's agents, and United is open to the deal, especially after the arrival of Benjamin Šeško, who has displaced Højlund from the starting lineup. However, Højlund himself is not yet ready to leave Old Trafford, which complicates negotiations. Milan is ready to cover the player's full salary and pay about €6 million for the loan, but is waiting for a final yes from the striker himself. At the same time, the Rossoneri are not giving up on the option of Dusan Vlahovic. Negotiations with Juventus are ongoing, but the financial terms remain difficult. The last offer included €10 million plus defender Malik Thiaw, but Juve has not yet agreed. Thus, Højlund is the number one priority, and Vlahovic is a backup option. If the Dane agrees to the move, Milan will get a young, dynamic forward who has already proven himself in Serie A. Well, it didn't work out for him in the Premier League, but that happens. This league is quite intense and difficult, and not everyone can play here. Real Madrid is close to the transfer of Ibrahim Konate. Liverpool is ready to sell, but not cheaply. After the failure at the Club World Cup against PSG, Xabi Alonso is demanding a reinforcement in the centre of defence. And although Real has already signed Dean Huijsen, the Madrid side wants another defender, and the choice fell on Ibrahim Konate. The Frenchman's contract with Liverpool runs until 2026, but negotiations for an extension have reached a dead end. Konate wants a significant salary increase, and the club is not ready to accept such terms. This opens a window for a transfer. Real Madrid has already agreed to personal terms with the player and is ready to wait for him as a free agent, as was the case with Trent. But Liverpool does not want to repeat the same mistake. The club is ready to sell Konaté this summer if there is no progress in the negotiations. Real Madrid values the transfer at 25 million euros, while Liverpool wants at least 40 to 50 million euros. PSG has also intervened, as they are also interested in the player, and Chelsea has already made an offer of £43 million, but Liverpool does not want to sell to a Premier League rival. This forces the Madrid side to act quickly if they do not want to lose another priority player. Konate is powerful, fast, reads the game well, and Real Madrid lacks exactly this type of defender. Alonso sees him as the key to stabilising the defence, and the club is ready to compromise to close the deal by the end of August. Premier League sensation. Nottingham Forest has officially signed French national team forward Arnaud Kalimuendo. The transfer from Rennes cost the club €31.5 million, which is significantly more than his market value on Transfermarkt, which is €22 million. The contract is for 5 years. Kalimuendo is a PSG academy graduate, capable of playing in any attacking position, but he performs best as a centre-forward. Last season, he scored 18 goals and made 4 assists in 34 matches. Nottingham Forest is also preparing an offer of £30 million for Yunus Musa, a US national team midfielder and AC Milan player. Musa has already agreed to personal contract terms until 2030 and is ready to return to England, where he once started at the Arsenal Academy. Forest sees him as a dynamic box-to-box player who can add energy and verticality to the midfield. Milan is still hesitant. They want closer to €35 million with bonuses, but negotiations are ongoing. Crystal Palace has made an official offer of €30 million for Club Brugge midfielder Christos Tzolis, whom the club sees as a potential replacement for Ebereki Eze. According to Transfermarkt, the Belgians have valued the 23-year-old Greek at €40 million and currently have no intention of selling him, even after the first offer from London. Tzolis had a fantastic season, 21 goals and 14 assists in 56 matches, and he started the new campaign with 3 goals and 2 assists in 7 games. Palace may increase their offer, but Club Brugge insists that the player is not for sale unless an offer they can't refuse comes in. That's it for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video. Keep watching for more football action and have a wonderful day.